Hyunwoo heard the sound while he was checking his equipment in the small research station. At first he thought it was thunder. But thunder did not make the ground shake like this. Thunder did not make the windows rattle in their frames. Thunder did not sound like someone crying. He walked to the main door and looked outside. The twin suns of Talon 9 were setting, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange. The rocky landscape stretched out before him, dotted with strange plants that glowed softly in the fading light. Nothing seemed wrong. But the sound came again, louder this time. It was definitely crying. Deep, rumbling sobs that seemed to come from the earth itself. Hyunwoo grabbed his scanner and stepped outside. The air was cool against his skin. He had been on this planet for 6 months, studying the local wildlife. Most creatures here were small and harmless. The biggest thing he had seen was about the size of a dog. This sound was coming from something much, much larger. He walked around the side of the station following the noise. Then he stopped. His breath caught in his throat. A massive creature sat on the ground about 50 meters away. It was at least 20 meters tall, even sitting down. Its body was covered in scales that shimmered with soft blue and green light. 4 powerful legs supported its weight. 2 enormous wings were folded against its back. A long neck curved down, and at the end was a head with intelligent eyes that glowed like stars. A skyweaver. Hyunwoo had seen pictures and videos, but never one in person. They were rare, intelligent, and usually avoided humans completely. Some people called them dragons. They had lived on Talon 9 long before humans arrived. The creature was crying. Tears fell from its glowing eyes and splashed on the ground, creating small pools of luminescent liquid. In its front claws, held as gently as a human might hold a baby, was a smaller version of itself. A young skyweaver, maybe 5 meters long. The young one was dying. Hyunwoo could see it even from this distance. Its scales, which should have been bright and colorful, were dim and gray. Its chest barely moved as it breathed. The light in its eyes was fading. The mother dragon looked up and saw Hyunwoo. Her crying stopped. For a moment, they stared at each other. Hyunwoo knew he should go back inside. Skyweavers were dangerous when upset. This one was clearly very upset. She could destroy his entire station with one swipe of her claws or one blast of the fire he knew she could breathe. But she did not attack. Instead, she made a different sound. A soft pleading sound. She looked down at her dying child, then back at Hyunwoo. Then she did something that made his heart stop. She stood up, carefully cradling her young one, and walked toward him. Every instinct told Hyunwoo to run, to get inside and seal the door, to call for help. But he did not move. There was something in the mother's eyes, something he recognized. Desperation, hope, a parent begging for help to save their child. The ground shook with each step the dragon took. She was bigger up close than Hyunwoo had imagined. Her head was the size of his entire station. Her claws could crush him without effort, but she moved carefully, slowly, as if afraid to scare him away. She stopped a few meters from him and lowered her massive head. The young dragon in her claws was now close enough for Hyunwoo to see clearly. The child's breathing was shallow and rapid. Its scales were cracked and damaged. Burn marks covered its small body, but not from fire. This was radiation damage. Hyunwoo had seen this before in animals that had gotten too close to certain areas of the planet. Talon 9 had pockets of dangerous radiation from ancient cosmic events. Most creatures knew to avoid these areas, but a young, curious dragon might not know better. The mother made that pleading sound again. She gently pushed her child toward Hyunwoo with her snout. The message was clear. She wanted him to help. Hyunwoo's mind raced. He was not a doctor. He was a wildlife researcher. His medical knowledge was basic. He had some supplies for treating injured animals, but nothing designed for something like this. Nothing designed for a creature from another world entirely. He looked up at the mother dragon. She was watching him with those glowing eyes, waiting, hoping, trusting him with the most precious thing in her world. Hyunwoo made a decision. He pulled out his scanner and approached the young dragon. The mother tensed but did not stop him. He ran the scanner over the small body, collecting data. The readings were bad, very bad. The radiation had damaged the dragon's cells at a fundamental level. Its organs were failing. Without treatment, it would die within hours. But what treatment? Hyunwoo had nothing that could fix this level of damage. Human medicine would not work on alien biology. The colony's main medical facility was 300 kilometers away, and they would not have anything either. By the time he could get the young dragon there, it would be too late. The mother dragon made a sound that was almost a whimper. She could see the expression on Hyunwoo's face. She knew what it meant. Hyunwoo looked at his scanner again, thinking hard. There was one possibility. One very dangerous, very experimental possibility. In his research station, he had medical nanites. Tiny robots designed to repair human cells from the inside. They were experimental technology sent to him by mistake in his last supply shipment. He had been meaning to send them back. The nanites were designed for humans. They had never been tested on any other species, much less an alien creature like a skyweaver. They might not work at all. They might make things worse. They might kill the young dragon faster, but doing nothing would definitely result in death. Hyunwoo looked up at the mother dragon. She was still watching him, still hoping. He thought about his own mother back on Earth. He thought about what she would do if he were dying and a stranger was her only hope. He made his choice. "Wait here," he said to the dragon, knowing she probably could not understand his words but hoping she would understand his tone. "I will try to help." He turned and ran back to his station. Behind him, the mother dragon settled back onto the ground, holding her dying child close to her chest. She watched the small human disappear into his metal shelter, and she waited. Because waiting was all she could do now. Her child's life was in the hands of a stranger from another world. The purple sky darkened as night fell on Talon 9. The mother dragon's scales glowed brighter in the darkness, a beacon of hope and desperation in the alien wilderness. Hyunwoo burst through the station door and ran to the medical storage cabinet. His hands shook as he pulled out the sealed container of nanites. The small metal case was covered in warning labels. Experimental use only. Authorized personnel only. Not for general distribution. He had never planned to use these. They were too new, too untested. But now they were the only chance that young dragon had. As he gathered supplies, his communicator beeped. He had forgotten it was still on. The screen showed an incoming call from Jiwoo, the medical technician at the nearest settlement. She must have seen the alert from his scanner when he checked the young dragon. Hyunwoo answered the call. Jiwoo's face appeared on the small screen. She looked worried. "Hyunwoo, what is going on? My system just picked up massive life signs near your station, and your bioscanner showed radiation poisoning readings. Are you okay?" "I am fine," Hyunwoo said quickly, still gathering equipment. "But there is a situation. A skyweaver came to my station, a mother. Her child is dying from radiation exposure." Jiwoo's eyes went wide. "A skyweaver? Hyunwoo, you need to get away from there right now. Those creatures are unpredictable, especially when they are protecting their young." "She is not attacking," Hyunwoo said. "She brought her child to me. She wants me to help." "Help? Hyunwoo, you cannot help an alien creature like that. We have no idea how their biology works. And if you fail, if that child dies while you are trying to treat it, the mother might blame you. She could destroy everything." Hyunwoo paused. He had not thought about that. If the young dragon died, would the mother think he had killed it? Would she take revenge? "I have to try," he said. "You should have seen her, Jiwoo. She was crying. She was begging. What kind of person would I be if I just turned away?" Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Then she sighed. "What are you planning to do?" "I have medical nanites. I am going to inject them into the young dragon and hope they can repair the radiation damage." "What?" "Hyunwoo, those nanites are experimental. They are designed for human cells only. They have never been tested on other Earth animals, let alone an alien species. You have no idea what they will do." "I know," Hyunwoo admitted, "but the scanner showed the child's organs are failing. It has maybe 3 hours left. There is no time to transport it to the main colony, and even if there was, they would not have better equipment than I do. This is the only option." "This is insane," Jiwoo said. "You could start an interstellar incident. Skyweavers are a protected species. If the colony administration finds out you experimented on one without authorization, you could go to prison. And that is if the mother does not kill you first. Then do not tell them," Hyunwoo said. "Not yet. Give me a chance to try." Jiwoo looked at him for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. "Okay, but I'm sending an emergency transport to your location. It will take about 2 hours to arrive. If things go wrong, you need to evacuate immediately. Promise me." "I promise," Hyunwoo said, though he was not sure he would keep that promise if it meant abandoning the dying dragon. "And Hyunwoo, I am also notifying Da-Yun. She needs to know what is happening," Hyunwoo grimaced. Dayun was the commander of the entire colony. She was strict and followed every rule perfectly. She would definitely not approve of this. Fine, he said, but tell her not to send soldiers. That will only make things worse. Ji-woo agreed and ended the call. Hyun-woo grabbed the nanite container and a portable injector. He also took extra medical supplies just in case. Then he ran back outside. The mother dragon had not moved. She was exactly where he had left her, curled around her dying child. Her glowing eyes tracked him as he approached. Hyun-woo tried to look calm and confident even though his heart was pounding. He knelt beside the young dragon. Up close, he could see how badly damaged the creature was. Its breathing was getting weaker. He did not have much time. Hyun-woo opened the nanite container. Inside were tiny vials of silver liquid. Each vial contained millions of microscopic robots, programmed to find damaged cells and repair them.
In humans, they worked by identifying specific proteins and DNA sequences.
In this alien creature, Hyun-woo had no idea what they would do. He loaded one vial into the injector. The device was designed to penetrate skin and deliver the nanites directly into the bloodstream. He hoped it would work on dragon scales. The mother dragon watched him closely. She seemed to understand that he was trying to help, but Hyun-woo could see the tension in her body. She was ready to strike if he hurt her child. One wrong move and he would be dead. This might sting a little, Hyun-woo said softly, more to calm himself than the dragon. He pressed the injector against a softer patch of scales on the young dragon's neck and activated it. There was a soft hiss as the nanites were injected. The young dragon did not react. It was too weak to even feel the injection. Hyun-woo stepped back and pulled out his scanner. Now all he could do was wait and watch. The scanner would show him if the nanites were working or if they were causing more damage. At first, nothing happened. The young dragon's vital signs continued to drop. Its breathing got even slower. Hyun-woo felt his stomach sink. It was not working. The nanites were designed for human biology. They could not understand alien cells. The mother dragon sensed something was wrong. She made a low, rumbling sound deep in her chest. It was not quite a growl, but it was close. Her eyes began to glow brighter. Hyun-woo could feel heat radiating from her body. She was preparing to breathe fire. Please, Hyun-woo whispered. Just a little more time, please. Then something changed. The scanner reading suddenly spiked. The nanites were doing something. Hyun-woo watched the data stream across his screen, hardly believing what he was seeing. The nanites were adapting. They were not programmed to do this. Human nanites had fixed programming. They could only repair human cells in specific ways. But these nanites were somehow learning. They were analyzing the dragon cells, figuring out how they worked and adjusting their programming to match. It should have been impossible. But it was happening. The young dragon's vital signs stopped dropping. They stabilized. Then slowly they began to improve. The creature's breathing became deeper and more regular. Color started to return to its scales. The cracks began to seal. Hyun-woo let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. It was working. The nanites were actually working. The mother dragon noticed too. She could see her child improving. The desperate look in her eyes began to change. Hope replaced despair. Hyun-woo's communicator beeped again. This time it was Da-eun. Her face on the screen looked stern. Researcher Hyun-woo, she said formally, I have been informed of your situation. I am ordering you to cease any medical intervention immediately and evacuate your station. We are sending a security team to handle the Skyweaver. No, Hyun-woo said. The treatment is working. The child is stabilizing. If I stop now, it might die. That is not your decision to make, Da-eun said firmly. You are not authorized to experiment on protected alien species. What you are doing could have serious diplomatic consequences. We have treaties with the Skyweaver territories. The mother came to me, Hyun-woo argued. She asked for help. How is that violating any treaty? You do not have permission to treat alien life forms with experimental human technology. End this now or you will face serious consequences. Hyun-woo looked at the young dragon. Its eyes were starting to flutter open. The glow was returning. The mother dragon was no longer tense. She was watching her child with joy in her eyes. I am sorry, Commander, Hyun-woo said, but I am going to finish what I started. You can arrest me later if you want, but I'm not going to let this child die because of bureaucracy. He ended the call before Da-eun could respond. His hands were shaking again, but this time from adrenaline rather than fear. He had just defied a direct order from his commanding officer. His career was probably over. But as he watched the young dragon's eyes fully open and look at its mother, he knew he had made the right choice. The mother dragon made a sound unlike anything Hyunwoo had heard before. It was like music, like bells ringing across water. It was the sound of pure relief and happiness. She nuzzled her child gently, and the young dragon nuzzled back, gaining strength with every moment. Then the mother dragon turned to look at Hyunwoo. And for the first time since this had all started, she smiled. The mother dragon is vocalizing. I do not yet understand the language, but the tone seems friendly. She is. Dawn was breaking over Talon 9 when the ships arrived. Hyunwoo saw them coming from orbit. 3 military vessels descending through the purple and orange sky. They were still distant, but the dragons had noticed them too. All 5 skyweavers were now alert, watching the approaching ships with glowing eyes. The mother dragon moved closer to Hyunwoo. She made a questioning sound, looking between him and the ships. She was asking if these were friends or threats. I do not know, Hyunwoo said honestly. I hope they will be friendly, but they might be scared. Please do not attack them unless they attack first. He had no idea if the dragon understood his words, but she seemed to understand his tone. She made a low rumbling sound, and the other dragons gathered closer together, forming a protective circle around the young one. Hyunwoo's communicator came to life. Tonghyun's face appeared, but the voice he heard was different. It was a man he did not recognize, wearing a military uniform. This is Captain Han Sol of the Colonial Defense Force. We have visual confirmation of multiple Skyweaver dragons at your location. Are you injured or in immediate danger? No, Hyunwoo said firmly. I am perfectly safe. The dragons are peaceful. They came here seeking medical help for a juvenile, which I provided. There is no threat. Stand by. We are going to evacuate you. That is not necessary. I am not leaving. There was a pause. Then Da-eun's voice came through. Hyunwoo, this is not a request. You are ordered to prepare for immediate evacuation. We will handle the dragons. We handle them how? Hyunwoo demanded. These are intelligent beings. The mother dragon deliberately sought out human help. She trusted us with her child's life. If you come in with weapons and aggression, you will destroy that trust. We are not going to attack unless provoked, Captain Han Sol said. But we cannot leave 5 dragons unchecked so close to colony settlements. They need to be relocated. They are not animals to be relocated, Hyunwoo argued. They are people, sentient beings, and they were here long before we colonized this planet. Researcher, you are not in a position to make these determinations. Your judgment has been compromised by your extended isolation and the stress of, my judgment is fine. Hyunwoo interrupted. What is compromised is your understanding of what is happening here. These dragons are trying to communicate with us. They want peace. The mother showed me her memories. She chose to come to humans for help because she believed we could save her child when her own kind could not. The ships were getting closer. Hyunwoo could see their weapon systems were active, not aimed, but ready. The dragon saw this too. The blue-scaled dragon spread its wings in a defensive posture. The red and gold one moved to stand between the ships and the young dragon. You are escalating this, Hyunwoo said desperately. Stand down your weapons. Land peacefully. Let me show you what I have discovered. Negative, Captain Han Sol said. We are proceeding with evacuation protocol. Prepare for transport beam activation in 60 seconds. The mother dragon suddenly moved. She stepped directly in front of Hyunwoo, spreading her wings wide to shield him from the ships. The gesture was clear. If they wanted to take him, they would have to go through her. The other dragons took similar protective positions. They were not attacking, but they were not going to let the ships take Hyunwoo without a fight. Wait, Hyunwoo shouted into the communicator. They are protecting me! If you try to beam me up, they will think you are attacking. This will turn violent. Please, just give me a chance to explain. There was silence from the ships. Hyunwoo could imagine the frantic discussions happening on the bridges. Military commanders did not like situations they could not control, and this was rapidly becoming exactly that kind of situation. Finally, a new voice came through the communicator. It was older, calmer. Researcher Hyunwoo, this is General Byung-ho. I am in command of the Colonial Defense Forces. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to explain what is happening, but if I see any aggressive action from those dragons, we will respond with necessary force. Understood? Understood, Hyunwoo said quickly. Thank you, General. He took a breath and organized his thoughts. 5 minutes was not much time, but it would have to be enough. 2 days ago, the mother Skyweaver brought her dying child to my research station. The child was suffering from severe radiation poisoning. She did not attack. She did not threaten. She begged for help. I used experimental medical nanites designed for humans to treat the child. Against all odds, the treatment worked. The nanites adapted to the dragon's alien biology and healed the damage. That is an impressive medical achievement, General Byung-ho said, but it does not explain why we should allow 5 dragons to remain so close to our settlements. What I am trying to explain, Yunwoo continued, is that this was not a random encounter. The mother dragon deliberately sought out human help. That means the Skyweavers have been observing us, studying us. They know who we are and what we can do, and when faced with a crisis they could not solve alone, this mother chose to trust humanity. He paused to let that sink in. Think about what that means. These creatures are not animals operating on instinct. They are intelligent beings capable of understanding different species, assessing capabilities, and making reasoned decisions. They are, in every meaningful way, people. People who breathe fire and can destroy buildings with their claws, Captain Hansol pointed out. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. Powerful people, which makes it even more important that we approach them with respect and diplomacy, rather than weapons and threats. The mother dragon showed me her memories. She shared her experiences with me through some kind of telepathic connection. If we handle this right, we could establish the first real communication between humans and Skyweavers. If we handle it wrong, we could start a war we cannot win. There was a long silence. Hyunwoo watched the ships hovering in the sky. The dragons watched too, tense and ready but not attacking. What are you proposing? General Byung-ho asked finally. Let me continue working with them. Let me try to establish real communication. These dragons came here peacefully. They have shown no aggression despite having every opportunity to attack. If we respond with violence or forced relocation, we will be the ones who broke the peace. And if they attack our settlements, they have not attacked in 2 days, even though they easily could have. Why would they start now? General, please, just give this a chance. If I am wrong, you can evacuate me later. But if I am right, we could be at the beginning of something incredible. More silence. Hyunwoo could feel his heart pounding. Everything depended on what the general decided in the next few seconds. Captain Hansol, the general said finally, stand down your weapon systems. Maintain position but do not engage unless directly attacked. Sir? Captain Hansol sounded surprised. You heard me. Researcher Hyunwoo. You have 48 hours to make progress with these dragons. If at any point they show aggression toward our people or property, we will evacuate you immediately and take necessary defensive action. Clear? Crystal clear, Hyunwoo said, relief flooding through him. Thank you, General. Do not thank me yet. You are taking a huge risk and you have put your career and possibly your life on the line. I hope you are right about this. So do I, Hyunwoo admitted. The connection ended. Hyunwoo looked up at the mother dragon who was still shielding him with her wing. He reached out and gently touched her scaled leg. It is okay, he said softly. They are not going to attack. We have time. The mother dragon looked down at him with those intelligent glowing eyes. Then she pulled her wing back and made a sound that seemed almost like a sigh of relief. The ships maintained their position in the sky but made no other moves. The dragons, sensing the immediate threat had passed, relaxed slightly. The young dragon who had been hiding behind the red and gold dragon peeked out curiously. Hyunwoo sat down on the ground, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving him shaky and tired. The mother dragon settled down beside him, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her body. They sat together in the morning light, human and dragon. While the ships watched from above and the fate of 2 species hung in the balance, Hyunwoo's communicator buzzed. It was a text message from Jiwoo. I cannot believe that worked. You are either very brave or very crazy. Probably both. By the way, someone very important wants to meet you. Who? Hyunwoo typed back. Timin. He is a xenobiologist from Earth. One of the top experts on alien communication and intelligence. He heard about what you did and caught the next transport to Talon 9. He will be here in 3 days. He wants to study the dragons and help you figure out how to communicate with them properly. Hyunwoo smiled. Help was coming. Someone who actually understood what he was trying to do. Someone who could provide the expertise he lacked. He looked at the mother dragon. We are going to figure out how to talk to each other, he promised. No matter what it takes. The dragon made that melodic humming sound again. And somehow Hyunwoo knew she was making the same promise back to him. 6 months had passed since that frightening morning when military ships had nearly started a war. Now, as Hyunwoo stood on the newly built platform between his research station and the dragon gathering area, he could hardly believe how much had changed. The platform was large enough to hold several humans and dragons comfortably. It had been the mother dragon's idea, communicated through the combination of sounds, gestures, and memory sharing that had become their method of conversation. She had wanted a space where both species could meet as equals, neither in human buildings nor in dragon caves. Today, the platform was crowded. Hyunwoo stood beside Taemin, the xenobiologist from Earth who had become his closest colleague and friend. Across from them were 5 dragons, including the mother and her child. The young dragon was now healthy and strong, its scales bright and beautiful. It still stayed close to its mother, but it was curious about everything and everyone. Between the humans and dragons stood Bora, Earth's official ambassador to Talon 9. She had arrived 2 weeks ago with the authority to negotiate formal agreements between humanity and the Skyweavers. She looked nervous but determined. The mother dragon, whom Hyunwoo had learned to call by her name, a complex harmonic sound he approximated as Star Wing Dancer, made a welcoming hum. More dragons were arriving, flying in from all directions. This was the day of the Great Gathering, when the Skyweaver Council would formally meet with human representatives. Taemin leaned close to Hyunwoo and whispered, "Are you ready for this?" "No," Hyunwoo admitted, "but I do not think anyone could really be ready for something like this." Over the past 6 months, Taemin had made incredible progress in understanding Skyweaver communication. The dragons used a complex system combining sound frequencies, body language, and something Taemin called empathic projection, the ability to share emotions and simple thoughts directly. It was not quite telepathy, but close enough. With Taemin's help, Hyunwoo had learned to understand basic dragon communication. More importantly, he had learned their history. The Skyweavers had lived on Talon 9 for thousands of years. They had watched humanity arrive, build settlements, and begin to change the planet. They had been cautious, staying away, observing. They had seen both the good and bad in human nature, the wars humans fought among themselves, the amazing technology they created, the way they helped each other in times of crisis. Starwing Dancer had told Hyunwoo that the Skyweaver Council had been divided. Some wanted to drive the humans away before they caused too much damage to the planet. Others wanted to wait and see if humanity could learn to coexist peacefully. The council had been arguing about this for years. Then Starwing Dancer's child had gotten sick and she had made a choice that changed everything. She chose to test whether humans could show compassion to a completely alien being in desperate need. She chose Hyunwoo because her observations had shown him to be kind to all creatures, even small ones that most humans ignored. When Hyunwoo had helped her child, he had answered the question the council had been debating. Humans could show compassion. They could be trusted, at least enough to give them a real chance. Now 13 dragons landed on and around the platform. They represented the Skyweaver Council, the leaders of the dragon communities across Talon 9. They were all different colors and sizes, but all radiated power and intelligence. The largest dragon, an ancient female with silver and white scales, landed last. She was the council elder, the one who would make the final decision about humanity's future on this world. Bora stepped forward, following the protocol Taemin had taught her. She bowed respectfully and said, "On behalf of the human colonies of Talon 9 and the government of Earth, I greet the Skyweaver Council. We come in peace and hope." Taemin translated her words into dragon language using a device he had built. It was not perfect, but it worked well enough for basic communication. The council elder made a sound like distant thunder. Taemin's device translated, "We acknowledge the presence of the human delegation. We gather to discuss the future of this world that both our peoples now call home." What followed was hours of careful discussion. The dragons explained their concerns. Humans were expanding too quickly, building too much, changing environments that had been stable for millennia. Human mining operations sometimes disturbed sacred dragon sites. Human ships and vehicles frightened young dragons who did not yet understand that they were not threats. Bora listened carefully to each concern and offered solutions. Humans would designate protected areas where no building or mining would occur. They would establish flight corridors that avoided dragon nesting sites. They would educate all colonists about dragon culture and behavior to prevent accidental conflicts. But the dragons wanted more than just promises. They wanted partnership. The blue-scaled dragon that Hyunwoo had met on that first night spoke. Humans have knowledge and tools we do not possess. You have medicine that saved a life our own healers could not save. You have ways of building and creating that could help our people. We want to learn from you. The red and gold dragon added, and we have knowledge humans do not possess. We know this planet better than any scanner or survey. We understand the patterns of weather, the cycles of the land, the locations of resources you have not discovered. We can guide you to build in harmony with this world rather than against it. It was Starwing Dancer who made the proposal that changed everything. She produced another of those glowing memory spheres and shared it with everyone present. In the shared vision, Hyunwoo saw a future Talon 9 where humans and dragons lived and worked together. Human doctors treating sick dragons, dragon guides leading human explorers to new discoveries, dragon children and human children learning together, mixed teams of both species studying the universe, combining human technology with dragon wisdom. It was beautiful, it was hopeful, and most importantly, both species wanted it. The council elder was quiet for a long time after the vision ended. Then she spoke, her words carrying the weight of ages. For thousands of years, we Skyweavers have lived alone on this world. We have been content in our isolation. But watching humanity arrive, we saw something we had not seen before. A species that never stops growing, learning, reaching for new things. A species that makes terrible mistakes but also shows great compassion. A species very different from us, but not so different that we cannot understand each other. She turned her enormous head to look directly at Hyunwoo. One human showed us that when faced with a dying child of another species, he would risk everything to save it. This single act of compassion has shown us that humanity, for all its flaws, has a heart, and that is what we need. Not just neighbors who stay in their own space, but partners who care about our well-being as much as their own. The council elder raised her head and made a sound that all the other dragons echoed. It was a sound of agreement, of acceptance, of hope. The Skyweaver Council accepts humanity as partners in the stewardship of Talon 9. We offer our knowledge, our protection, and our friendship. In return, we ask for the same from you. Bora's hands were shaking as she responded. On behalf of humanity, I accept this partnership with gratitude and humility. We will honor this agreement and work together to make Talon 9 a home for both our peoples. The dragons all made that bell-like sound Hyunwoo had first heard from Starwing Dancer. It was the sound of joy. Starwing Dancer's child, who had been watching everything quietly, suddenly broke free from its mother and bounded over to Hyunwoo. The young dragon was now almost as big as a house, but it acted like a playful puppy. It nuzzled Hyunwoo with its snout, nearly knocking him over. Hyunwoo laughed and patted the dragon's scaled head. This creature was alive because he had made a choice to help, and that choice had changed everything. Taemin was grinning.
Do you realize what just happened?
You just witnessed the first formal alliance between humanity and an alien species. We are making history. We are making more than history, Hyunwoo said, watching as other dragons began to mingle with the human delegation members who had come to observe. We are making friends. Over the next weeks, the partnership began to take shape. Human doctors started training in dragon medicine, with Starwing Dancer as their primary patient advocate. Dragon scouts led human explorers to resource-rich areas that would not damage the ecosystem. A joint research center was planned, where both species could study together. But the most amazing development was the children. Young dragons became curious about human children and vice versa. Despite the massive size difference, they found ways to play together. Human kids would ride on young dragonbacks, soaring through the sky. Dragon children would watch in fascination as human children showed them human games and technology. The older colonists were nervous at first, but they could not argue with results. The children of both species were learning to see each other not as aliens or threats, but as friends. 6 months after the formal alliance, Hyunwoo stood outside his research station, now expanded to include facilities for dragon visitors, and watched the sunset. Starwing Dancer sat beside him as she often did these days. Her child was off playing with a group of young dragons and human teenagers, their laughter and chirps echoing across the landscape. The night on Talon 9 was filled with strange sounds. The glowing plants hummed softly, small creatures chirped in the distance, and sitting outside his research station, Hyunwoo listened to something he never thought he would hear. a dragon purring. The mother Skyweaver had not left. Even though her child was clearly recovering, she stayed near the station. The young dragon was now awake and alert, though still weak. It stayed close to its mother, occasionally making small chirping sounds. Every few minutes, the mother would check on her child, running her massive snout gently over its body. Hyunwoo sat on a rock a safe distance away, monitoring the young dragon's vital signs on his scanner. The nanites were still working, repairing damage throughout the creature's body. The readings were better than he had dared to hope. At this rate, the young dragon would make a full recovery. His communicator had been buzzing constantly for the past hour. Messages from Daeun, from Jiwoo, from other colony officials. He ignored them all. Whatever consequences were coming, they could wait until morning. Right now, his only concern was making sure the young dragon stayed stable. The mother dragon turned her massive head toward him. Her eyes glowed in the darkness. Then she did something unexpected. She stood up and walked toward him, moving with surprising grace for such a huge creature. Hyunwoo's first instinct was to run, but he stayed still. She had not hurt him yet. In fact, she had been remarkably gentle around him, always careful not to get too close or make threatening moves. She stopped a few meters away and lowered her head until it was level with Hyunwoo. This close, he could see every detail of her face. Her scales were like jewels, each one catching and reflecting light. Her eyes were deep and intelligent, more like a person's eyes than an animal's. Then she did something that made Hyunwoo's heart stop. She extended her long neck and gently touched her snout to his forehead. The touch was warm and surprisingly soft. It lasted only a moment, but Hyunwoo felt something pass between them. A connection, an understanding. This was not just a thank you. This was something deeper. The mother dragon was accepting him, trusting him, recognizing him as someone important to her child's life. When she pulled back, Hyunwoo saw that she was making a sound. A low, melodic humming that seemed to vibrate in his chest. It felt like she was trying to communicate something specific. The young dragon, watching from where it lay, made a similar sound, weaker, but clearly copying its mother. Hyunwoo wished he could understand what they were saying. He made a mental note to look up everything he could about Skyweaver communication. If this was going to become a regular thing, he needed to be able to talk to them properly. The mother dragon seemed satisfied with their interaction. She returned to her child and settled down beside it, wrapping her body protectively around the small creature. Within minutes, both dragons appeared to be sleeping, their scales glowing softly in the night. Hyunwoo finally checked his messages. There were 17 from Daeun alone, each one more urgent than the last. The most recent one said that a security team was en route and would arrive before dawn. They had orders to evacuate him and secure the area, which probably meant scaring away the dragons. He sent a message back to Daeun. Treatment successful. Young dragon recovering, mother dragon peaceful. Request you cancel security team. Their arrival may be seen as threat and provoke defensive response. Will report in person at dawn. He did not expect Daeun to agree, but he had to try. The last thing he wanted was armed soldiers showing up and ruining the fragile trust he had built with the mother dragon. As he waited for a response, movement in the sky caught his attention. At first he thought it was a shooting star. Then he realized it was moving in a controlled pattern. Something was flying toward his location. More dragons. Hyunwoo counted 3 of them, their glowing forms visible against the dark sky. They were smaller than the mother dragon, but still enormous by human standards. As they got closer, he could see they were circling his station, clearly interested in what was happening below. The mother dragon woke up and looked at the sky. She made a loud, carrying call. It sounded like a greeting. The 3 flying dragons responded with similar calls and began to descend. Hyunwoo stood up, his heart racing. 1 dragon was manageable. 4 dragons was a completely different situation. If they decided he was a threat, there was nothing he could do. The 3 dragons landed around the station, forming a wide circle. Now Hyunwoo was surrounded. The mother dragon stood up, careful not to disturb her sleeping child, and walked to meet the newcomers. What happened next was fascinating. The dragons touched their snouts together one by one. They made various sounds, low rumbles and high chirps and melodic hums. They were clearly communicating, but Hyunwoo had no idea what they were saying. One of the newcomers, a dragon with dark blue scales, approached the sleeping young one. It sniffed carefully, examining the child. The mother dragon made an explaining sound, and the blue dragon turned to look at Hyunwoo. All 4 adult dragons were now looking at him. Hyunwoo tried to look calm and non-threatening, which was difficult when you were being stared at by creatures that could crush you without effort. The blue dragon approached him slowly. Hyunwoo held his ground, remembering how the mother had responded to his calmness earlier. The blue dragon lowered its head and sniffed him, its nostrils flaring. Its breath was hot and smelled like sulfur and flowers, an odd combination. After a long moment, the blue dragon made a pleased-sounding chirp and gently bumped Hyunwoo with its snout, almost knocking him over. It was a friendly gesture, like a dog nudging someone for attention. The other 2 dragons approached as well. One was pale green with silver markings. The other was red and gold, its scales looking like they were made of metal. They both examined Hyunwoo carefully, sniffing and looking him over. Then they too made friendly sounds and gently touched him with their snouts. The mother dragon watched all of this with what Hyunwoo could only describe as approval. She made a long, complex series of sounds that seemed like she was explaining something to the others. Hyunwoo's communicator buzzed again. He glanced at it and saw a message from Jiwoo. Hyunwoo, satellite imagery shows 5 dragons at your location. Are you okay? Please respond. He quickly typed back, I'm fine. They are friendly. We'll explain later. Jiwoo's response was immediate. Friendly? They are skyweavers. Taeyun is losing her mind. She has evacuated the 3 nearest settlements and is talking about calling in military support from orbit. Hyunwoo cursed under his breath. This was escalating far beyond what he had anticipated. If Daeun called in military ships, the dragons would definitely see that as a threat. Everything could fall apart in seconds. He called Jiwoo directly. Her face appeared on the screen, looking panicked. You have to talk to Daeun, Hyunwoo said urgently. Tell her not to send any military. The dragons are not attacking. They are just checking on the young one I treated. If soldiers or ships show up, it could turn hostile. I already tried, Jiwoo said. She will not listen to me. She says you have lost your judgment because of stress. She is treating this as a potential crisis situation. Let me talk to her. She blocked your communications. She says you are compromised. Hyunwoo wanted to scream in frustration. This was exactly what he had feared. Human bureaucracy and fear turning a peaceful situation into a dangerous one. How long until the military arrives? Maybe 3 hours. They are scrambling ships from the orbital station now. 3 hours. Hyunwoo looked at the dragons around him. They were calm now, relaxed even. The young dragon had woken up and was playfully wrestling with the red and gold dragon, which seemed to be enjoying the game. The mother dragon was grooming the pale green one, using her claws to clean hard-to-reach spots. It was a peaceful, almost domestic scene. These were not mindless beasts. They were intelligent beings with families and relationships, and in 3 hours human ships would arrive with weapons ready, treating them like threats to be eliminated. Hyunwoo made a decision. He could not stop the military from coming, but maybe he could document what was really happening here. Maybe he could create a record that would show these creatures were not enemies. He activated his station's external cameras and set them to record everything. Then he pulled out his personal camera and started recording as well, narrating what he was seeing. This is wildlife researcher Hyunwoo, making an unofficial log at Research Station 17 on Talon 9. The time is approximately 3 hours past sunset on the 18th day of the 10th month. I am currently surrounded by 5 Skyweaver dragons. The largest is the mother of a juvenile I successfully treated for radiation poisoning, using experimental medical nanites. The other 4 appear to be members of her family or social group. He pointed the camera at each dragon in turn, capturing their unique colors and markings. The dragons are exhibiting peaceful social behavior, no signs of aggression or hostility. The juvenile is recovering well and showing playful behavior, typical of healthy young animals. The adults are engaging in what appears to be grooming and social bonding activities. As he spoke, the mother dragon approached him again. She lowered her head and made that melodic humming sound. Hyunwoo turned the camera to capture her face.